Don't fear dying. Fear not living to your full potential. I said, I'll have to look in the mirror and know that I am a quitter for the rest of my life.
That's a good visualization, because that one moment where you're just like, you ring the bell, you're out. That one moment is forever. Ray Cash Care has over 26 years of collective experience between the SEAL teams and the CIA. He's been in TV shows like The Selection, BBC's Ultimate Hell Week, and the movie Captain Phillips.
When you pull that trigger, I don't care who you are. I'm a soldier to the Lord. No one can bring that round back.
Ray Cash Care, welcome. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Thank you, sir, for having me.
Hey, can I start with kind of a story? I don't know whether you'd be humiliated by it or proud by it, but I wanted to introduce everybody to you by way of a little Ray Cash Care story. How's that sound? Are you nervous?
Proceed.
So this was early on into when I hadn't known you long, but you had sent me a video message and you had just swam across a lake. And you're just sending me this video message. And you're like, yep, just swam this lake. And I don't know, 10 miles, something insane. And then you're like, and I did it naked. And then you pointed the camera down to prove that you were naked. And you were, in fact, naked. And then you thought that that was appropriate material to send a guy you didn't really know a video message of just the... But what was that about?
It was about knowing that years later we'd be sitting here and that you would bring that story up, because I'll haunt your dreams, bro.
Is that just kind of who you are, or was that just like a Navy thing? What is that? Because I'm a man and you're a man, and you sent me that video.
You know, I've done that with so many people. I don't know why the hell I did it. You know, I hope you're embellishing a little bit.
I am.
Okay, because
it's a slight embellishment, but do you remember that?
I do not. I do not. But I do remember that, you know, early in the game, you know, when you're getting into, you know, being an influencer or whatever it is, you want to kind of, you know, you've got to do the shock and awe.
You shocked.
You know, and
we'll leave it at shock.
You just got to let it all out there sometimes. You know, it's like, listen, one or two things is going to happen. You're either going to say, this guy is insane and I'm going to let him in, or I'm going to block his number. How did he get?
I was shocked, but not surprised. Shocked, but not surprised.
Was that because of what you did your research on me, or because I was a SEAL?
Yeah, probably both. Probably both.
I can accept that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, kind of kick stuff off. You were in, I didn't realize that you'd been in a movie, Captain Phillips, and you've been in some TV shows, The Regiment, which was
negative.
No, what was the show you were?
So I've been in a couple of shows. You should have done your research.
No,
Rangers.
All right, History Channel's The Selection.
There you go.
Is the BBC's Ultimate Hell Week.
And Ultimate Soldier Challenge, which I won, which I was supposed to go up against Kennedy in season 2.
Tim Kennedy?
Yeah, Tim Kennedy.
You won.
I won.
Way to go, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Did you like doing projects like that? TV and movies and stuff? That's pretty awesome.
I did, but when you're representing, like, you know, fun or not, when you're representing the community, there is a lot of backlash.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'll give you an example. When I did the Ultimate Soldier Challenge and ended up winning it, one of my best friends is a Master Chief, and he's like, if you lose, don't come home. Like, wow. And he wasn't joking, you know. So there's definitely a lot at stake. But I think I love doing it because, you know, when we did Captain Phillips and we did the shows, I think we did a very good job of representing as much as we could with the community. You know, you can't, you know, like when we did, oh my gosh.
Do you know what you've done?
I'm having a brain fart right now. I'm usually not intimidated by Rangers. But when we did The Selection, I'll give you, you'll know what I'm talking about. We did a section of SEER. Right?
Okay, yeah.
Obviously, we called the commands and we asked what we can and what we cannot share.
Yeah.
So we left out a few things for TV, and then,
right.
You know, so when you create a project and you do it the right way, it's pretty rewarding versus, you know, just jumping on and making an ass of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Captain Phillips thing of like, was that pretty cool? Because that's a major picture and you're sniping a dude at the end of like, was that a fun project? And how much of a commitment is that of like you stand by for weeks at a time? Because you're a busy guy doing public speaking and you're doing all kinds of training stuff. And I want to get into that, but of like your normal flow, you can't just, how does it work to take time out to become a movie star or to do TV shows?
So here's how it worked. It was a 14-day commitment. That's what it was. I was up at Camp Perry. I was a Glock instructor, right? And me and another team guy, we'll just call him Hamster. That's who he was, old Team 6 guy. We got hit up and said, hey, they're looking for extras that are SEALs in the movie about what happened with the event. And we're like, oh, okay. And so we talked to the boss, who was our sergeant major who ran a range. And he said, yeah, you guys, if you want to take leave and do it, go down and audition. So we auditioned and they were like, you guys got the part. And they were like, hey, it pays $500 a day. And me and Hamster and said, well, shit, we make $650 now. Why the hell would we do that? So we said, no, thanks.
Yeah.
So we left and went back, and I get a call about 3 days later, and it says from this guy named Dana Bernetti, who was the executive producer. Really liked the presence of you and Keith, and we want you guys to be extras. And they said, hey, sir, no offense, but taking a pay cut to be on a movie, I had no aspirations of being, I know I'm not going to be a star. No thanks. And he's like, hey, we'll pay you. What do you make a day? We said $650. He goes, we'll pay you $700. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
So we show up to be extras. Stay with me here, okay? And what was going on is we have to take a ferry, a shuttle out to the ship where we would start filming. There was a gentleman by the name of Hugh Middleton who was an officer over at Blue Squadron. I think he was Blue, who had the part that I ended up getting. And the reason why I got the part is because the ferry broke down and they wanted to do this practice scene. And somehow they were like, hey, you, come here. So literally with a movie, right? Because you're a ranger, you haven't done a movie yet. It's okay. You will one day. Can't do it. You film out of sequence. So they were like, here's the sequence. Hey, listen, you just rescued Tom from this ordeal. What would you do? And I'm like, first I would like look at his pupil dilations and I would start sweeping, checking for wounds, right? Things we do. Put like these two cameras in our face and they're like, and action. And I'm like, and they're like, go. So I'm like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I start sweeping and after it's over with and cut. And I'm just like, what happened?
Yeah.
So they like all gather together and it's like, the football huddle where you're looking at the kid and looking at this and they're like, hey, just so you know, your roles changed. Now you are going to have a role with a SAG thing. And I'm like, what does that mean? Right? Long story short, this took a few hours to get going. The boss man, Lieutenant Commander Middleton comes and he is not a small man. He's just like looking at me.
Yeah.
And I literally told Paul Greengrass, who was the director of the movie, I can't take this part. That's his part. He'll kill me. And they said, no, we're actually going to give him a bigger part. And I was like,
oh, saved.
Hugh pulled me to the side. He goes, that's the only thing that saved your ass. So I was like, yes, sir. So it was a good show. But I will tell you, I've never been around so many people that are so drawn to a camera. Like everybody wants to be on camera. And the one thing that I learned on film is just be yourself. Like everybody was kissing everybody's ass to try to get more screen time. And, when I ended up talking to Tom, he's like, just so you know, everybody knows, we know exactly who's going to do what. So you guys can kiss all the ass you want. It's not going to get you anywhere. So it just kind of made me feel good. And I just relaxed and I just was me. Now my wife met him and lost her mind, but yeah, it was good.
Well, we have a lot I want to talk about. However, we're already talking about TV shows and movies and stuff. Did you watch this thing that aired on Netflix with Alex Hanel, this rock climber that just buildered up Taipei Tower? Have you seen this? There's some crazy rock climber just climbs a skyscraper.
Yeah, free
climb.
Free climbed.
No rope, just went up a skyscraper and they televised. It was a main event.
Yeah.
My hands are sweating just thinking about it. It was my old rock climbing days. But would you ever attempt something like that? And what do you think of that?
I think he's absolutely freaking nuts. And no,
what amount of money? Let's say I'm going to up you from $700 a day, which you were making. I'll give you $750 for that day's work to go ahead and.
John, I'm 53. I don't want to even climb a ladder without a safety harness these days.
That's awesome. What amount of money would it take for you to go up?
There's no fight. There's none because I'm going to die.
Totally die.
I'm going now if I can will it to my wife.
Yeah.
But after taxes hit me, I'm screwed either way. So no, that's all I do with that.
You know, the guy was doing a podcast afterwards, and he was talking about how important it was for people to do things that they're afraid of. Because as you get older, we have pretty fair routines. We've kind of gone through our big challenges of sports and whatnot. We settle in to a bit of a mundane life. But this rock climber who's just doing insanely scary stuff just brought up the point. It's healthy and it's good for people to face fear on a regular basis of like, it's unhealthy for a person to not face that kind of stuff. What do you think about the role of finding scary stuff to do as we get older?
I think finding fear is finding growth. So I'm a big advocate of doing things that scare you. Now, let's dissect that a little bit, right? Let's say you're scared of heights.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, we can put you on a rig. We can have someone belay you, and we can have you climb something. You're still scared shitless.
Yeah.
But you're still breaking boundaries. Okay. Yep. Now, if I'm scared of heights, okay, I'm not scared of heights. I'm not going to climb a freaking skyscraper because I know what's going to happen. I am. I'm going to die.
Bro, yeah.
Now, there's the difference between fear of living to your fullest potential, because that's what I fear. But I also fear getting into a situation where I know what the outcome is going to be. If you tell me climb this skyscraper right now, I'm going to die. Now, if you told me climb the skyscraper or your family's going to die, I'll climb it and die.
Yeah.
But the end result's going to be the same every effing time. I'm going to die. So what I would suggest, and I'm a huge fan of doing things out of your comfort zone, is crawl, walk, run. You know, like, there's people that are scared to drive fast, you know. Yeah. You can go on a controlled track with a professional, have them teach you. Look at skydiving. Shit, let's look at skydiving. You know, I've been trying to get my wife to, you know, it's not like they're just going to throw her out of the plane.
Yeah.
This isn't jump school.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
They're going to tandem her in with an expert.
Yeah.
And then from there, we'll see what happens. But, you know, if I were to be a betting man, her chances of survival being tandem with a professional, someone who's done thousands of jumps, is much better than Ray Cash Care trying to climb up a fucking skyscraper.
No.
It's just not going to happen.
No.
So I think you have to pick and choose, and there has to be some form of rationality of what you're going to do with fear. Like, I'm not going to jump in a drag racing car without a lesson and they say, hey, just go. I'll end up dying.
Yeah.
But if I train and I properly prepare for anything, I honestly think humans can do so much more.
Yeah.
We're so comfortable being comfortable.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah.
What if I had a way to allow you to experience fear right now in a good and edifying way? Would you spring for that?
Sure.
I don't know.
What are you doing?
I'm making you afraid.
Oh my God.
This is happening right now. I want you to just embrace it. I want you to just breathe through the fear. Just breathe. How you doing?
I'm a little nervous. I'm doing good. Sorry. What is wrong with you?
I'm going to invoice you for that. You're welcome. This training session is complete.
What are we doing?
What are you talking about? I was trying to give you an adrenaline bump there. That must have been... walk us through that terrifying experience. Did you feel that fear like in your gut or in your chest or in your mind? Of like, how was that for you? For me, I felt nothing.
First thing that I know,
I was worried you were going to kiss me.
You actually got smaller as you got closer. You didn't get bigger. So that was the first thing. Second thing, you smell fantastic.
I get that a lot.
Jesus. I got nothing. It's rare that you could not have an out. I have nothing. But it'll still never compare to me sending you nudes if my
that took the cake. That took the cake.
Hey, quick interruption, guys. I've got an ask. If Warrior Poet Society has ever helped you, I'm asking you to be able to support our movement and join Warrior Poet Society by getting the WarPoet app. On the WarPoet app, we have all kinds of news. We have exciting shows, travel shows. And all of my classes of training classes of pistol, rifle, Indian dudes from other zip codes with long-range stuff, entangled knife fighting stuff, homesteading, homeschooling. The WarPoet app has got tons of content. And the best one, the Rally Point, is my live show that I stream every Thursday night, where you guys are able to call me on the phone. And are you with me?
I am with you, sir.
We have a conversation. I answer all kinds of questions, but we rally up together as warrior poets once a week, Thursday nights, only on the WarPoet app. Get the WarPoet app, support us, join the team, join the cause.
Take us back. What made you want to be a SEAL in the first place? I want to know what little tiny itty bitty Ray Cash Care was before any SEAL teams or any action stuff was happening. And then what made you want to take the jump? And then you got in, and surely that was transformative.
So if I have to hit the rewind button, to prior SEALs.
Let's go back 60, 70 years. Put yourself in that mode.
But on a serious note, I was an angry kid.
Okay.
My father was murdered when I was 11, and my mother, she busted her ass, but she wasn't around a lot. So, being an angry kid, you get into a lot of trouble. Yeah. Father
that's important. That's transformative years. Did you have any other male role model that was able to step in? You got a grandpa or anybody else?
My grandfather, my dad's father, has always been my role model. He passed when I was 16. But I come from, my parents divorced from as early as I can remember. So I lived with my father.
Wow.
And then, when he was taken from me, I had to go live with my mother.
Yeah.
Bro. And it was tough, but the one thing that I tell everybody, and sometimes I get mixed feelings and emotions, is, and I'm watching again as a Christian, I'm thankful that happened to me. In the regards to, I think that helped shape and mold me to who I am, because when I tell you I have no quit, I mean, when I set my mind to something, I find a way. Like, I find a way. And it's not pretty. I always talk about it, progress and growth. The process is vicious and it's violent. It's not beautiful. When you're holding the belt or whatever that is, when you're holding the trident gets put on, it's beautiful, but people have no clue the training that we go through. And I know we joke, Ranger, it's like, you've got to show up and you've got to lay it all.
Yeah.
Right.
For me, I planned to quit quite a few times. So I'm like, dude, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. Hurts. It's bad. I don't even know why I'm doing this. And I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit right when I get up to that next little hill. And then I get there and I just put it off again and again. I can never bring myself to quit. But I think mentally, it's kind of like I've had those weak moments. I'm like, I'm going to quit. And then I just couldn't go through with it. And so that's me of like, I don't have quit in me either. Is that something that was kind of baked in the cake of who you are, or was that a forced decision? I was kind of tilting my hand to being like, hey man, for me, it looked messy in that, in when I start off, I'm like, no quit, no way, no how. And then, there's a certain point where I'm broken. I'm like done. I've gone past all mental and physical barriers and I'm quitting. And it's happened a few times in my life, but then I get to it and then I just can't actually bring myself to quit. I'd rather die.
What I love about what you just said is you just showed true strength. Like a lot of guys, I've heard a couple guys, big influence. I never thought about quitting buds. I never thought bullshit.
Bro, I thought about it. I thought about it a lot.
Thinking about it and doing it are two separate animals, right?
That, yeah.
And I got to give props first. The one time that I was thinking about, no shit.
Yeah.
Throwing in the towel, ringing the bell, was Steel Pier.
I want to know about that moment.
For the audience that doesn't know what Steel Pier is, it's cold in San Diego, and people are like, no, it's not. It is Hell Week. We were doing it. I turned 23 in Hell Week. So
happy birthday, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
What'd they get you? A big log?
I told Jason Redmond to shut his mouth. He was enlisted back then. But Steel Pier is where you just over and over and over, you are on this pier and it's freezing cold. Your skin is almost sticking to it. And they're having you do these just these very fundamental drills, like trying to tie shoes and doing things where you can't even function. And then once you're to the breaking point, they make you get up again, and it's about a 4-foot drop into the water, and you get out. You do this again, you do this for hours. And I'll never forget Jason Redmond, who is, very well-known individual, Purple Heart, got shot, I think, like 8 times. He was in my original Buds class. He got rolled. Great guy. We're friends to this day. I'm standing at the edge of the pier. And I said go, but my mind said no. It was done. And I literally looked back and said, dude, just push me in. And Redmond's just like, okay, and he pushed me in. And at that moment in time, if he wouldn't pushed me in that quick, I think I honestly feel like I would have quit.
Wow.
I still owe it to him to this day. And he's like, oh, I'm happy to do it again. I love Jay. But for me, the way that I got through Buds, because everybody goes, what's the trick? It's like show up, right? Show up. That's not half the battle. Showing up is the minimum requirement. Show up ready as you can be, because no one's ever going to be ready for what you went through, what I went through. And just don't quit.
That's good.
Don't quit. That was all I had to do. So I would come up with these games in my head, like I don't know how it was with you, but we had boat crews. The number one boat crew was like the guys that looked like they were Adonises. They were the big, I was in the Smurf crew. I'm like, the little guys. It was me, Jamie Monroe, and 3 Singaporeans. Jason Redmond was in my boat crew, and then but it was like, we sucked at everything. We lost. Like, I was the tallest guy in my boat crew. We didn't have a lot going for us. But I would literally look and say, when he quits, because you're a big guy, when he quits, I'll quit. Yeah. And when he quit, I'd be like, that guy's a bitch. I don't need him. And I would just pick other people.
That's cool.
Right? So that was the one thing I did.
I love that, because you're talking about, I have a big goal, and the goal is too big. I can't actually pass Buds. I can't do the program.
Yes.
But I can outlast that one guy. And it ended up being a small goal. Now it's really about here. And if he falls, then I'll find a new one. But you made a big thing, a big impossible feat, really small and localized. I think that's brilliant. That localized game. All right.
And then I took it one step farther. I like to visualize things. Mm-hmm. So I visualized my future. I visualized married a woman out of my league. Same with you. You did.
Yeah.
I visualized having 2 children, which I had.
Yeah.
And I visualized one day having to talk to my son when he said, hey, Dad, did you join the Navy? Did you ever think about being a Navy SEAL? And at that moment in time, I had 2 options. Tell him the truth that I quit.
Yeah.
Tell him that I didn't have the balls to try. Yeah. Or lie to him and say I never did it.
Yeah.
And at that moment, that's when I was like, whenever things got hard, I'd be like, man, when I said, if I quit now, listen, there's guys that get injured, they get rolled. Some of the toughest guys I know.
Yeah.
But an Iron Horse making it through the first time, man, that's rolling the dice and getting real lucky. And I was that guy. But I said, I'll have to look in the mirror and know that I am a quitter for the rest of my life.
That's a good visualization, because that one moment where you're just like, you ring the bell, you're out. That one moment is forever.
It's forever. Like, we talk about it, we were talking about, the one skit you did. When you pull that trigger, I don't care who you are. I'm a soldier of the Lord. No one can bring that round back.
No.
No one can bring it back. And a lot of people, I'm sure you saw it in your training too. The minute they quit and they get what they want, they're like, what did I just do? Yeah. And you can't undo it.
Yeah.
So I live my life like that. Like I said before, John, it's when I always ask people 2 questions. I do coaching. It's like, what do you fear most in life? Dying. And what do you want to be? A millionaire. I'm like, okay, you're looking at it wrong. Don't fear dying. Fear not living to your full potential.
That's good.
Right?
Yeah. There's things worse than dying.
Yeah. And, I was told this by some of my mentors. Listen, number one, making $1 million doesn't make you a millionaire. I found that out the hard way. They're like, nope, take taxes out. But they're like, if you want to be a millionaire, find a way to help, encourage, motivate, guide 1 million people. That's where the growth comes from. And that's what I'm focusing on right now. I have never, like, you are talking to a Ray, not a Ray Getschke, former Navy SEAL, who at a point in his life is really focusing on very few things. Number one, I'm focusing on the big man, which has brought me so much clarity. Yeah. Right.
And that's a newer walk for you.
Right? It is. And I will tell you, I'm known for doing my push-ups, right?
Yeah.
My 1,320 push-ups, 22 push-ups on the minute, every minute. You never join me. It's okay. You suck. But it's for a veteran first responder suicide. And we both know that number is much higher.
Yeah.
But my body can only take that, right? I'm in my 50s. My pastor, Hank, what a lot of people don't know, and I'm going to tell you a story that I haven't told a lot of people, is I used to have a lot of bad addictions. Drinking, drugs, women. Literally, if I sat here and told you some of the things I did in the past, you'd probably knock me out.
No, I mean, I've
But
heard it all, seen it all, walked through the fire with a lot of people, gone through my own stuff. I feel like, nope,
but I was down and out, man. I mean, I was thinking about, ending it all. I went and talked to my pastor and said, listen, I'm going to lose my wife. I'm going to lose my kids. I don't know what to do. And he said, hey, man, listen, Pastor Hank, I take him out all the time. He goes, I want you to do something for me. I'm like, yes, sir. Tell me what. He goes, I want you to drop down. And every time you want to pop it, you want to pull it, you want to tug on it, you want to cheat on it, you want to do this. He goes, I want you to do push-ups, young man. I said, how many? He goes, until you don't want to anymore.
That's good.
So every day since that, I will break up and do 1,000 push-ups. I've already done 400 today, because you can't kill the beast, but you can name, claim, and tame it.
Yep.
You can know who you are and what triggers you. And
That's good.
that's what I do. And ever since I've done that,
That's so good.
my marriage has never been better. I mean, me and my wife, we're getting ready to be empty nesters.
Yeah.
And, I'm like, listen, you're stuck with me. She said, oh, Lord. But the wealth as a whole, not just this, the wealth,
Yeah.
the friendships, there's so many forms of growth, physical, mental, emotional, social, spiritual, and financial growth have really blossomed because I've really, and again, I'm going to make this very clear, and I know I'm talking to another soldier here. A lot of bad shit's happened to me. And when I was doing my push-ups, I ended up doing these for two sermons. Like, it was 30 minutes and 30 minutes, right? Pastor Hank's like, I want to ask you a question. And I said, yes, sir. He goes, are you a believer? And I paused for a second. I said, no.
How long ago was this?
It's about 1.5 years ago, but I said, I am believing.
Yeah.
And he goes, that's all I ask. And, and I will tell you, there are things that I've incorporated that have made the foundation of, I talk about team care. That's our family. So strong. Every night, no matter where I am on the planet. I've done it on sat phones, the different things. For the last 7 years, we pray together as a family. The biggest thing I learned is, don't be a part-time prayer. Don't be a part-time believer in anything, right? Don't, because what do people do? They call on him when it's what? It's too late.
Yeah.
Versus, right? They do. Like, dear Lord, please, I'll never do it again. Please give her. My thing is, it's consistency. It's showing him that you love him, you believe in him, and that you support all the sacrifices he made for us. And I've never been more clear in my life, it used to be hard to have serious conversations because I'm, but
You're a fun guy.
I'm a fun guy, and I'm a good looking guy, but,
You couldn't stop
I
yourself.
could not. Yeah.
All right, get back in there.
But when I look in the mirror now at 53, I finally like what I'm starting to see, because for the longest time I didn't. And I will tell you this real quick, and I got to give props to it. One of the Bedros, we were talking about him earlier, Bedros Koulian.
Yeah.
Started working for him at 45. If people don't know him, founder of Fit Body Boot Camp. We were doing these men's courses where I was the most hated guy on the internet. Whatever, I was hated. And I always did it wrong, John. I always did things to prove people wrong. I wanted to be a Navy SEAL, U.S., to prove people wrong. Everybody said I was worthless. I'll never amount to anything. My thing was, I'll show you. Bedros one day, he's not a small man, puts his big hand, he's got his giant thumb and his small thumb. He's weird. He puts it on my shoulder. He goes, hey, Ray, you're doing it wrong. I said, what? He goes, stop doing shit to prove people wrong and start doing things to prove yourself right. Prove yourself what you are. And I'll tell you, man, I've we haven't worked together in years, and every day I get up and I'm like, I'm going to do this for me and my family and for the big man. And I've never been more tuned in with my internal frequency. And and just the power of belief that I ever have right now. Like you are seeing right now, I don't know how much better it can get than this. Like you
got joy now. I didn't have it before.
And I have peace.
That's good, man.
You know, I have a lot of peace. We've all done shit that we're proud of and not proud of.
Right.
And I'm not going to sit here and, beat my chest and say I've done things, but I've seen things that I'm glad a lot of other people haven't seen. And, we have to live with that shit.
Let me distill this. So, hard charging, Navy SEAL, been in movies, TV shows. I think you got your own action figure somewhere.
I do.
But I'd be like accomplished guy, Jag, you list, thousands of push-ups every day and of like your mastery of discipline and accomplishment. And yet in your 50s, still you were suffering under the weight of your own appetites, which you couldn't master. And you had to be rescued by the Lord God. That's pretty amazing. Faith did for you what nothing else could.
If I didn't find faith, I don't know where I'd be right now.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that I've started to master, talk about discipline, is being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Is, I feel, a true warrior strength. When you can, come back from deployment and be vulnerable with the people you love. I used to have no off switch.
Right.
I come home from deployments with the agency or whatever, and I was an animal.
Yeah. How do you keep a marriage intact? And how do you have kids that grow up in their teens that don't one day hate you for it?
Well, I'll tell you, if I was on that road.
Yeah.
I was on that road. I was on the road to divorce. Didn't have the strongest bond with my son, who I adopted from my wife, my wife, Tricia, her previous marriage. And, I honestly feel there was times where my daughter was scared of me, and, I had to make a change. And I tried everything else. And, when you make the ultimate sacrifice, the ultimate leap of faith, the ultimate everything, and you lay it on the line for the big man, you have to, because in the Bible, he will forgive. He forgives. I have a hard time thinking he'll forgive me for some of the things I've done, but, I have to swallow that. But just being open and honest with the Lord, prayer with my wife has really, really blossomed. I call it the Cash 2.0, and not in a funny way, but just in a more rounded, well-structured way, and I'm not going to go back to the old guy. I refuse.
It's an interesting thought that I just had on questioning whether the Lord can forgive the depths of what we've done. And I was thinking of like, well, as bad and as gross and as terrible as our sin could be, can it compete, our physical, temporal sin and problems? Can it compete with an infinite mercy? It's almost asking, I don't know if the earth can hold up this toothpick. I'm like, yeah, you're no match for the infinite mercy of the Lord. Yeah, of course he can forgive.
Yeah.
And so that's a good thought. Hustle culture is something that, when I first started kind of hearing of what hustle culture was, I immediately gravitated toward pieces of it because I saw the benefits. I'm like, all right, you're going to start working out. You're going to start earning. You're going to start gaining accountability and dominion over what you should be doing. Of like, it was so much stronger than the just weak victim culture. You have hustle culture on the other side. And so you look at a lot of that and you're like, man, hustle culture of like, that'll make a man out of you. Yeah, absolutely. Go out and earn, no excuses, accomplish. And so in some ways, hustle culture is really, really awesome. You have like the Andrew Tates out there that he's in one red pill part of that hustle culture. And then there's some other variants as well, but hustle culture, right? But I saw within hustle culture some horrible, horrible problems, such that if someone buys into the whole hustle culture thing, they're going to have a really great 1 or 2 years and a terrible 10 years. For me, I feel like it's a Faustian exchange where to get some earthly benefits, you trade your soul for it. You lose the things that matter the most for the things you think matter the most, but at the end of your life, you realize they won't. Where's hustle culture fail? Because you're kind of like teaching a lot of those things that hustle culture gets right. But I've seen you depart from that culture in effect to what we call like warrior poet culture instead. But where's hustle culture fail? And how can you help steer young men that are walking down that path but don't realize where that road ends?
What I have learned is that, like you talk about the red pill, the Goggins pill, these pills of these animals that do incredible things, right? Like, Dave, love you, but I have no fucking desire to run 200 miles with broken feet. But a lot of people, I think, are trying to use the hustle culture for the wrong thing. What is the overall objective that most people hustle for? Do you know what it is?
Narcissistic and hedonistic desire to be the best, to have it all, to be admired, to be respected, and to sleep with a harem of women while you swim in a vault of your own money.
I'll call them out. You just summed up Wes Watson.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
But for me, I'd trade the whole vault of money for my marriage.
Exactly.
And so if you hustle and you gain the millions and you're crushing it and all those indices, and you lose the love and affection of your kids who you're not really present for, and you find that out one day when they're 18 or 20 and they resent you and you're like, what happened? What's wrong? I'm like, well, you had a little golden idol of your own self-accomplishment and you didn't spend enough time with them. And they were always in the shadow of your greatness, or you sought greatness instead of goodness. Your life was way out of balance. Then you stacked up a few different divorces while you climbed a corporate ladder. I'm like, that's not winning to me. That's a good 2-year plan and a terrible 10-year plan.
I agree. I think society blankets what's truly important, right? Because what is, you look at the OnlyFans and all this, look, people can make a bunch of money by doing stupid things or, let's get famous, but here's what I know a lot of famous people, and I know you do too. Eventually the smoke's going to clear.
Yeah.
And when the smoke clears, the question is, was the hustle worth where you are right now? For me, I used to be that guy, man. I wanted to. The difference between the last time we saw each other now is this. And it's just, I'm going to be as raw as I can. I used to be the fucking guy that when I walked in the room, I wanted everybody to know what it was. Now, when I walk in the room, I don't want anybody to know who I am, but I want them to be drawn to me because of just my whole mannerisms, the way I talk, the way I make eye contact with people, the way I shake someone's hand. Wow, this guy's 53. He's built like a brick shit house. Yeah, he's disciplined. He's got a beautiful family. He openly talks about the Lord. I'm not scared to talk about the Lord. If you don't like what I've got to say, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you do this. I don't care if you dye your hair pink and you do stupid things. What I do care about is if you try to push that on me in an offensive manner. So for me, hustle culture is, I think people need to wake up, and you said it, it's a great 2-year plan.
Yeah.
It's a great 2-year plan. And for me, it was like an 8-year plan.
Yeah.
And I was exhausted.
Right.
And I didn't have, I had money. There was a time when I was getting on Instagram and I had 4 cars. That was great. You know what? I have 1 car now, and I love it.
All right.
I used to run around, trying to be a big shot and it got me nowhere.
It's so empty.
Yeah. You think it's going to fill this void because a lot of people want to feel the sensation of accomplishment. But if you really want to accomplish something, be a good husband, be a good father, be consistent in life. Like, I went to the gym this morning, not one soul's in the gym, but I was, do things that I don't want to leave a legacy behind, because make no mistake about it, 2 generations, give or take, maybe 3, they're going to be forgotten. Mm-hmm. I want to leave a living legacy.
Yeah, that's great.
I want to do it right now. Listen, I'm all about prioritizing, strategizing, monetizing what's important. Yeah. But for me, right, I call it the operator sequence. It's what we call it. Prioritize, strategize, and monetize. Monetize does not have to be money. It's growth. right? That's the mission is growth is how am I going to create structure and growth for my circle? And my circle right now, and it's small. It's my wife, it's my daughter Nyla, it's my son Michael. I care about other people, but I prioritize and strategize and monetize everything around that. And the nucleus of that is the big man.
Yeah.
And once I realized that, because here's the thing, man, you can't, hustle culture is simply this. It's trying to win a marathon by spraying. You can't do it.
You can't
do it.
You can white knuckle it for a few years and you feel like a hero and you post your gains and you make some wins and then something that you didn't know was essential breaks. Yeah. Your marriage starts crumbling and you don't even notice it right away because you're seeing big strides in your business or something else, but that idolatry of self while having some good types of gains carries within it pernicious seeds that destroys that which is most important. And so hustle culture of like, no, I'm not buying into that. Yeah. All that is it's an idolatry of stuff and self. That's what it is. And instead, I do want to win at work. Don't be a loser. Win at work.
Yeah.
And earn and take care of your temple here. Work out, have discipline. And so I want to take that good without the idolatry of stuff and self.
And for me, I think the shift from the hustle culture to just the spiritual culture was this, when you're 80, 90 years old and you're laying on that deathbed, man, who's going to be around you?
Yeah.
Because the cars aren't going to be around you. The houses aren't going to be around you.
That's right.
The affairs that you had aren't going to be around you.
No, that'll still be around you. You'll feel those every day.
You'll feel them, but it's going to be the people that are right beside you. That's
the pleasure is gone.
That's it. The people and the people that are at your bedside are the people that you probably mistreated the worst, but yet they're still constant and consistent. So for me, it was, you know what? I just, I've lived hard. You lived hard. I'm probably, my wife will live forever. I hope, and I do. I hope my wife surpasses me.
Yeah.
And I hope that when I'm laying on my bed, I can look at her and say, hey, was that a good man?
Mm.
And, and it's tough, man. I mean, I get emotional. My daughter, by that time, has she married a man that is, hopefully, I've left an impression where she marries a man that's equal to me. I hope he's better. My son, is he, a direct reflection of being a solid father and leader to his family? And if not, it's because I focused so much on the damn hustle that I didn't focus on what was really important, what I had in front of me. So many people take advantage of what they already have.
It's good.
And they don't focus on that. They focus on, my wife the other day, I do this credit card process. God, I wish you would stop talking about work so much. Boom, phone's off. It's done. Done. It can wait. So, my message to everybody out there for hustle culture is this: it's not real. It's smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
I've had it. I've had the money, and I still have it, but I'm smarter with it. People that want to showcase the cars and the money and the women and the houses, they're just not happy with themselves.
Right.
When you're truly happy with yourself, you don't need anything.
Yeah.
Isn't
it interesting because the golden calf has seduced me before as well. And you thought of like, that's what I want. Of like, I want to be able to have it all and do it all. My bigger temptation now isn't to chase the limelight and to be the most famous or the wealthiest. My biggest temptation is to unplug everything and disappear into my homestead, happily ever after with my wife. That's my temptation.
And I think eventually that's going to happen. But right now, you're, instructor of the year 3 times.
Firearms instructor of the year.
But you're doing it. My point is you're doing it, but you're doing it your way. You're not conforming to the masses. You're doing it your way. That's why I'm on this podcast, because you are the same guy that I met, that I looked up to. I'll never say that again. When I sent you that video, you're a guy that stands by your beliefs. You're not going to change who you are. You drive, I know your truck. You drive the same damn truck that, you've had. You could afford 10 of them if you wanted. I get it. But you're just a good man that's that's foundation is family in the Lord. And
Thank you for that.
yeah, and it's rare that you and I have serious conversations because we goof off all the time.
We have a lot of fun.
We do. I'm worried that people are going to be like, what happened? This guy is like, don't worry, I'll insult him some more.
We had a podcast just so we could talk serious, but yeah, we have good fun.
Yeah.
So that's
And what I don't think you're understanding is I don't want to say that I'm, because you are just a ranger, that I'm copying you, but you teach without directly understanding the effect of how you do it. Like just your mannerisms and the way that you present yourself and the love that you have for your wife. When we had lunch last year at that weird place that, remember, I got up and left.
that was terrible. Why did you leave us hanging? I know you had a good excuse, but it was also an awful excuse. You left us hanging. That was terrible food.
But I think you touch a lot of lives, a lot more. I mean, I know you're an amazing writer and you do all these other things, but I think when it comes down to it, for me, it's the way you treat your family is like how I've try to step up my game.
I'm still thinking about question you just said of like, man, that just broke my heart and urged me forward of like, I think I'd work my whole life to hear her say, yes, you were a good man.
Yeah.
And I believe we have an eternal soul that will stand before God Almighty. Jesus Christ will be there. And, the same question will be put forth. Well, was I a good man? Meaning, did I live on mission for the Lord? And he'll say, yeah, well done, good and faithful servant. Or no, you chased your own thing. And it won't last. And so, we'll live under the entirety of eternity in the shadow of, did I live for the Lord or did I live for myself? And that's what it'll ultimately come down to. Now, all we steward of Warrior Poet Society and all the stuff we do of, I'm just on mission for the Lord. He's called me to steward this platform and to do some stuff right now, and that won't be forever. But I'll do it I'll bang this drum as long as he wants me to.
Yeah.
And if he wants me to live silent and small, doing something else, I'm great with that. I'm just on mark as a rescued man. I'm on mission and I'm going to get orders day to day and I'm going to follow those orders. And right now it looks like this, and I'm happy to do this for as long as he wants.
Yeah.
So let me circle back to something you said earlier. You're coaching younger men and older dudes too through fear stuff. Mm-hmm. And you ask them what they fear, and you said, well, they fear death and they want to make millions. Mm-hmm. They will. So that there's the carrot, there's the stick. Mm-hmm. And you like peeling back that onion to be like, no, what's really the fears? You may say it's death, and that may be true, but there's bigger monsters underneath, the lid of your heart than that. For Ray Cash Care, former Navy SEAL, what are your fears?
Well, I mean, obviously, if we roll back, to a kid, the fear one of my biggest fears was, when I lost my father, was I, my biggest fear is, with the time I spent with him, was I a good son? That was a big fear of mine. Then when we roll into the SEAL teams, I think my biggest fear was, and again, I'm no war hero by any means. I'm not going to sit over here and pretend I'm something I'm not, is my biggest fear when I was in the SEAL teams was letting my brothers down.
Bro, no.
Just in any way, whether it was admin, it was overseas, just, you always wanted to make sure that you showed up the best version of yourself, you put in the work. But as I matured, with my wife and my children and life, I think my biggest fear is just letting the ones I love down by going back to my old ways. That's my biggest fear right now. That's why I do the push-ups every day. My biggest fear right now is that temptation, like I said, I've got one on the other side and I've got the bad guy on the other side. He's always tugging and pulling. Come on. You remember what it's like. And, you're not seeing me getting drunk and doing stupid things. You're not seeing me go out. And a lot of that fear, my wife, smart woman, she gave me probably the best advice I ever heard. She was, next time you're thinking about doing something stupid, because I'm the king of doing stupid shit. She goes, reverse engineer it, and would you want me doing that? She did. I went, what? Wait a minute. What? Yeah. And I'll tell you this right now, man. I don't do any stupid shit because if it's even questionable, I'd be like, would I want my wife going out and having lunch with a man and not telling me?
Yeah.
Nope. So what is my biggest fear now? If I had to sit here in front of you is, can I make up for all the fucking lost time of all the years that I did it wrong with my wife, with my kids, with him, and with, just that's it. Like, because I have the biggest thing that I've come to terms with, that I had nothing to prove to anyone. I used to, like I said, always want to prove everybody wrong, be a big shot, look at me, I'm a big ass. I don't care. My superpower right now is I only care for a very small, and it's not like I don't care about world hungry and I don't care about politics and I don't care about that. But it's not my immediate threat. Obviously, we're engaged in a firefight. You need to eliminate the nearest threat and then work your way back, right?
Right.
So my family is my immediate threat right now, and I need to eliminate all the bad that I've done, and I was never a sniper. So, doing mills and taking those long shots for 20 years down the road, I'm not.
We will achieve accuracy through volume.
That's right. I will, give me a saw and I'll get it done. I'll figure it out. Give me enough rounds and I will mow it down. And that's just what I'm not saying that's going to work for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that at this point of my life, that's the best plan that I've come up with.
I think it's interesting that us dudes were just so predictable. Because I'm like, your top fear, yeah, that's mine too. And I dare say it's virtually every dude's top fear out there. It's not death. It's not public speaking. It's not being enough. It's not measuring up. It's not being enough.
Yeah.
Strong enough, good enough, whether it's pleasing dad or failing at work or letting your team buddies down or letting your family down or not reaching your potential. It's all about, what if I'm not enough? What if I try and I fail? And what do you think it is for girls? And first off, do you agree that that's the root fear that most men are dealing with?
Yes.
Like that's the top one of like,
yes.
Am I enough?
Will I be enough? And the biggest fear is, am I doing what I was put on this earth to do?
That's good.
And that's an unknown,
Yeah. And there you just went even bigger of like, am I achieving the purpose for which I was intended?
And we were all put on earth for a purpose, right. I mean, I tell everybody, because, we've talked about it. I've worked with kids and, they feel like they have no purpose on life and they can never win. I'm like, listen, I don't want to get weird here, but you won the lottery being born. Like, the day of conception, you won. You were the strongest at that moment in juncture in time out of billions. You've already won the lottery.
We all started off as first place swimmers.
That's it. I mean, you're a ranger. You can't even swim that good.
Can't.
I can. And
a doggy paddle.
And sad thing is, I'm not a good swimmer, but I'll never stop. That's the key. I'm not the fastest. I'm not the most eloquent. I'm not the most graceful. I mean, I've actually had people see me swim and they're like, you were Navy SEAL. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
But the one thing that they know about me is I will not stop.
Yeah.
And I think when you have that mindset, that mentality, and you apply it to everyday life, you become unstoppable. You become like 53 years old. I'm doing jiu-jitsu, doing MMA. People are like, God, this guy will not stop. I can't. I don't have enough. I have less than 25 years they're telling me to live.
No.
Like, now's the time to pick it up, because that's what we do as men, right? As warriors, we coast the first 15, 20 years of our life because we don't know any better.
No.
And then we start dialing it in and we focus on one thing and we neglect a lot of the other important things. And then there comes a time in life where you have this epiphany where you're like, holy shit, I've been doing it wrong. I've been focusing on money and the fame and the fortune when I have these amazing people in front of me. Because the big thing with me I always get from my wife is, I wish you were more present when you were present.
Yeah. That's good.
You're there, but you're working. Babe, I'm working.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to just put down the phone. And I'm a hypocrite. because I do corporate coaching. I tell everybody, hey, past a certain time, put your damn phone down. But I'm a hypocrite
Yeah.
because I don't do it.
Yeah.
So I'm really focusing on being a man that when he says something, he incorporates it into his daily life, my daily life.
Yeah. So it's not difficult for Ray Care to do 1,000 push-ups a day, but putting your phone down is virtually impossible.
Impossible. And
So what happens when we give our kids cell phones and ask them to exercise restraint when we can't do it?
Lily, it's brought to my attention from my family that, hey, you're saying do as I say, not as I do. I want to be the leader in my house. Do as I say because I'm doing.
Yeah.
So we incorporated new rules, laws, if you will. Hey, dinner time, phones go over there.
Yeah, that's good. No.
John Lovell calls me, hey, I'm having dinner with my family. I hit you up.
No. If I call, you better pick up. No, don't. It's not funny. Don't laugh. If I call, you better answer. I want you watching your phone
I
constantly.
think everybody needs
Willing it to ring and it be my name. That's what I need from you.
John Lovell's cryptic too. I'm going on his podcast. I'm like, hey, John, he hits me up, I'll be like, are you drunk? You want me on your podcast? Yeah, I'd love to have you on. Everybody else fell through. We need you. Okay, got it. Whatever.
That's exactly what
I know. And then it's like, hey, John, give me a location. So, he gives me a location and then there's no time. There's no nothing. So finally, like I hit him up last night. Hey, John, can you give me a time? Not, hey, Ray, how you doing? 10 a.m. That's it. Like nothing. He's to the point. That's it. Like, okay. So I'm just going to say your welcoming skill set for people coming to your podcast sucks, my friend. I was like, and then.
All right, you went here. I'm going to answer this.
And then, hold on. And then when I show up, I get, first thing he does, not hi, he critiques me on it wasn't my best parking job.
It was a 42-point turn to an open parking lot to poorly park, by the way. That was the worst parking job. It was a terrible parking job.
It was,
and I wanted to see you, but I had to wait half an hour while I figured out how to park.
It's because you're sitting there scowling at me, like when you're looking at me. It's not like when I pull up, you wave hi, you're like this. This is what you're doing. You got the door up, you're going, like, what did I do now? And I mean, first and foremost,
I thought it was a teenage girl learning to drive in my parking lot. That's what I thought.
And let's address a few things. Your hair. You obviously are screaming to be a Navy SEAL because that's a Navy SEAL haircut. That is not a Ranger haircut. You with the beard, you were literally trying to be me. And it's how intimidating is it sitting across someone?
Let me answer the first offense that was levied against me, and it has to do with our hospitality. When I invited you down, it was to stay in my house with me and my family for a couple of days. And really, the point is to hang out with us. And the podcast was the excuse to write off the expense. And we'll also make some content. This would be great. But I wanted to hang out with you. And instead, you said you would rather be in a hotel room so that you didn't have a dress code than be in my home. True or false?
There's true, but there's some.
So I was inviting you to the deep.
You were like, hey,
part of a relationship, and you're like, no, to a hotel, and you're going to bounce out right after this. I invited you to hang, and you're
you
like,
didn't really invite me to hang. You said, hey, I live in Rome. It's an hour away. That's what you said.
I invited you to stay in my home.
You can stay with me.
Nope. It wasn't that. It was like, stay with me in my home. I've got the receipts.
Yeah, I'd like to see them.
It's called a text message.
Have you?
Do you know how this?
You sure you want to go down this avenue? Because you're going to look bad on your own podcast, and they're not going to cut this out.
I'm looking it up right now. So the route, the first move was me reaching out.
See, because everybody canceled. But go ahead, read it out loud.
I'm getting to it. I'm scrolling through. There's a lot of trash talking in here.
There is. But trash talking is the foundation of friendship. We must really like each other.
For us. All right. So you said, I'm going to look at the calendar here in a few minutes. Sorry, I'm closing a credit card processing deal. Then I'll respond. And I said, there is zero chance I would ever approve you for credit.
Yes. That's where it started. It's just the insult.
Just so you know.
Yes.
If I was Equifax, you would be a denied roach with a 430 score.
Get back to the you being.
I said, we would like you to stay in our home when you visit, though. And you said, I will get a room. I'm a nude dude, LOL. Then you said, gonna find a date. So anyway, that's it. We would like we would like you to stay in our home when you visit, though.
But if you said, we insist, we need you, you're a Navy SEAL, I need your awesomeness. You didn't sell it.
We would like you to stay in our home when you visit, though. That was our preference. Our preference is
I sort of must
stay
you in the face
with us. So it would be a death warrant for you. But then you said, I will get a room. I'm a new dude. And so I clarified later when we were on the phone. I said, wait, so you would rather be naked alone in a hotel room than clothed with me and my family? And you said,
Guilty.
Yes.
Guilty. Okay, I'm guilty.
What the crap, bro?
I wanted to be close to here. Because if we were in Rome, is Rome closer to the airport or farther away?
It's a little further away.
Yeah, so it's only 41 minutes. Time, like normally I get paid for these things. I'm doing this out of pity for you. I was on a roll. I was too serious. You were too intimidated. And here we are back to being,
All right.
sassy with each other.
All right. So what are you into now? You've always been coaching and mentoring. You do motivational public speaking events and stuff. Where are you at right now? What are you doing?
So right now, the primary focus is I'm working with companies. So kind of what I'm doing now is I'll go in, speak to a company or an organization and not tell them what they want to hear, but what they need to hear, right? From an outside lens perspective and a lot of these companies are looking for the camaraderie, the discipline, just the can-do attitude. So I go in and I work with these companies and say, hey, let's take you to the next level. Let's increase the frequency. Let's get everybody on that battle rhythm. That's something that we talk about in Spec Ops.
Yeah, man.
And they want it. And
it's great.
I've kind of done a lot of one-on-one. I'm working with a lot of the upper management, The biggest misconception is, everybody thinks leadership is from the top, from the bottom. And it's not. It's all the way around. If you have 1,600, now do they think, it's about the rewarding. You don't have 1,600 employees. You have 1,600 teammates. You have 1,600 CEOs of their own life. And what I do is I go in there and I work with them. And what I do, more importantly than anything else, is I break it down into 3 categories, right? John Lovell, you have the internal, you have the business, and you have the home, right? Stop focusing on business. I know you're great at business, right? I know you're great at home, but a lot of people, they're getting an A in one aspect of their life, but they're getting F's in the others. They're not focusing on themselves and they're not focusing on their family.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I'm changing the inner dialogue. So I do like weekly AARs with them, which is an after action report. I don't know if you knew that or not. But we're doing these with people and I make them, I'm constantly hitting them with the same questions every week, repetitive consistency, right? Making CEOs of companies do hey, you're going to go on date night, right? Which is mandatory. You should be doing.
Was that with you?
It is. We're going to have date night later. But I make them take pictures. I want proof.
Yeah.
If I didn't see it, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And we're focusing on that. We're focusing on, speaking is great. I'm a part of, I joined the Mafia. I'm part of a few speaking bureaus, but they don't have I'm watching this word, an aggressive mindset. They're very lackadaisical. They're, they have people that, if you have people that are just happy coming in and doing the minimum, Jim Collins, good to great. Do you have someone in the wrong seat of the bus or they're in the wrong bus? And a lot of times you've got to just go in and really assess who you have. So the one thing that people don't understand is I love the Harvard Business Studies. I love looking at statistics and scenarios, right? Of people that you have directly working for you, right? That are here in your nucleus. They would rather get gratification, instantaneous gratification and recognition from you than they would a raise. Because what happens when you give someone a raise in society? Shh, don't tell anybody, right? Or worse, people want a raise for doing what they're supposed to do. I have 6 people that help me out. You want me to give you more money for doing exactly what you got hired to do? No. But you as a CEO of this machine that's running, right? If you start recognizing people for going above and beyond with like a $5 gift card, say, hey, Ray, I noticed that you have been the first one here and the last one here because I just did this with a major multi-billion-dollar company. The CEO recognized a janitor. Said, you're the first one here and the last one to leave. No. Guy barely spoke English. Gave him a $10 gift card. No. You know what else? You know what people wanted? They wanted that.
Interesting.
Whether they're here or they're corporate, people want to be recognized. And people should be recognized for going above and beyond. But it takes sacrifice. It takes grit. It takes rolling up sleeves and remembering who you are. I tell people, remember, right, who you were when you first started this, because someone's going to come to you eventually, and how you act, right? We talk about the box breathing. You know the SEAL box breathing, 4, 4, 4, 4. If you're fired up, the next words out of your mouth after you calm down are a direct reflection of your leadership. Are you going to bark back at somebody, or are you going to go, John, I know you insult me all the time, but it's just because you're a filthy ranger and you want to be me. Now, see how I just handled that like a professional? When I could have yelled. I could have yelled at you, but I didn't. But on a serious note, no, I'm going to keep doing what I do, John, and that's coaching, speaking, and annoying you on the phone every time I can, because that's what makes me happy.
You've really become a professional at the latter one of those three.
Thank you.
Thank you. Where can folks find you?
Ray Cash Care on Instagram. I have a raycashcare.com website where, you can reach out to me. And I always tell everybody, and this is the one thing that I really pride myself on. If you ever have a question on Instagram, this is what I love. If it's professional, I will always take time to answer it. If you're sending me pics or something stupid or insulting me, I actually will take the time to insult you back.
That's awesome. Ray, thanks so much, man. That was a blast. This was super fun and helpful. So, Good.
Good.
That's great. I see you guys.